In this video, it is time to do something about the balding tyres on my Citroen GSA. We've got some fresh Michelins to go on. Clearly needs an alignment check as well. So let's head to the garage. Well, here we go. We got Giselle. She's fitted with her new rubber by the garage. I didn't get to do any filming at the garage. There was music playing, lots of distractions, people coming in and out, and plus Danny, who was doing the job, was getting quite angry because you have to remove the inner gaiters on the steering rack, and that's where the adjustment is. Slightly annoying, especially as those tubes, there's a tube that goes through the front subframe, and getting that back on was a pain. It is very, very Citroen under there. I've previously dealt with it myself when one of the gaiters came adrift. The plus side is, of course, the adjusters are nice and free because they're not exposed like they are on many cars. So one advantage. I'm not sure Danny saw it that way. Anyway, thank you very much to the lads at Madeira on Havod, or Havod Garage if you prefer the English. Utterly transformed, as we can see in this clip. Right, there we go. Thanks to the lads at Madeira on Havod again. Danny loved working on this car, so I think he's hoping I'll bring it back. The tracking was off. It wasn't necessarily off between the front wheels, but the front wheels were very much off against the back, which can't have been helping. Gone for tyre pressures slightly higher as well, because the steering was getting phenomenally heavy, which is why I've got this horrible steering wheel thing cover going on, purely to just give me a bit more grip on the wheel. But yeah, that feels much lighter. So I think the recommendation is 26 psi. Citroen always tended to be a bit low, I think to fundamentally encourage understeer. But we'll see how these tyres go. So we've got the Michelin XZX 145s on the front. Oh, that is so much lighter. And I haven't replaced the rears yet. I do have them, but the rear tyres have still got a fair bit of grip upon them, so it doesn't really make sense to change them yet. So it'll be interesting to see the if the handling is now better, because yeah, she was squealing quite readily, and the old tyres, it really has ripped the edges off them. Oh, this feels much more positive. So the Michelin tyres are what the cars came on originally, but has to be said, they are very expensive. I went through Vintage Tyres, and they kind of gave me a small discount, but we're still talking £432 for the 4 tyres. They are not cheap, and the reason people fit the Nankangs, they're an inferior tyre compared to the Michelin by all accounts. I'll be interested to test myself, but they're about £35–36 each, so a lot cheaper. You can buy 4 Nankangs for the price of like 1 Michelin. It's insanity, really. So is it worth an extra 70 quid a corner? I look forward to finding out. And here's one of the downsides with the old cars, is the everyday items start getting more expensive. The parts you need, the tyres, and that's purely because the aftermarket world hasn't got the volume of the major manufacturers, so parts tend to be more expensive. Some companies have to spend a fortune developing new parts. Burton and the dampers on 2CVs, for instance. So it's no wonder some of these parts end up being more expensive than the original items. But a lot of the time you can't get the original items. 2CVs always came on Lip Mesa shock absorbers, and they just don't exist. Oh gosh, yeah, that turning is feeling much better. So yeah, with the tracking not set correctly to the car, only to the front wheels, it meant the car was effectively slightly crabbing down the road. So should find it's a little more efficient on fuel perhaps, as well as better on tyres and handling. Oh, I like this car. Yeah, feeling much happier in this. But before we take a look at what's going on the car, the new rubber, I thought we'd take some time to look at the old tyres. You see the wear really is very bad on the outer edge. That's the outside of the tyre. There's a bit of wear on the inside as well. Oh, and that looks like a nail in that one as well. Perfect. I hadn't even realised that was there. Does it go all the way through? It does. Yes, that's a nail I've just found in that tyre. So maybe I had a slow puncture and that's why the steering was heavy. Might explain it, but I mean it's very, very shredded on this outer edge. It's looking very unpleasant indeed. You can see it's just lifting chunks of rubber off, so the tracking was definitely well out. And as I said in the clip, it wasn't just that the tracking was out at the front. It was very slightly out at the front, but it wasn't parallel to the car itself. So even going in a straight line, it was ripping the tyres to pieces. Not good times at all. But we'll take a quick look at the new rubber, if I can do so without getting trapped. So yeah, this is the Michelin XZX tyre pattern. Very, very chunky and aggressive, and it's even got sipes, so they should be pretty handy in the snow. I don't know if it's actually officially a mud and snow pattern, but yeah, it's looking the business. It's a 145 on a 15. There is no profile because it's just the standard profile. The standard profile is 80, so it is quite a chunky sidewall, and it seems a bit quieter to drive. It generally seems much better as a tyre, so I'm very happy to have these fitted. We'll see how they compare with the Nankangs. Got Nankangs on the rear still, and you see it's a far less aggressive pattern. So they don't seem any noisier despite that aggressive tread. So hopefully this just means that the GSA will now be better. Of course, we're actually at the time of year where I'm going to be taking this car not permanently off the road for the winter, but certainly doing less miles, spending more time in covered storage, just because I have to be quite precious about this car. It is, it's in great condition. I need to keep it that way. There is actually a soft spot on the floor in the driver's footwell, and that's another reason for keeping her out of the inclement weather. But you'll see, she's so covered in mud, you can barely see the scratches on the back. I actually cleaned Giselle last week, but we're at that time of year where mud is just everywhere, so that's another reason for taking her off the road. And I think poor Ellie, the 2CV, may come out and do some suffering. We've got Foxanne out at the moment. She seems to be leaking oil. If I bring you into the entrance, when I brought her out yesterday, she left this trail of oil. I think it's oil. It could be petrol, but the fact that it's still there staining suggests it's oil. So I think Foxanne's going to have to come off the road for a bit. But we'll get Myrtle back on the road, I think, to do a bit of mileage over winter. And yeah, Ellie can do a bit of mileage. Tuck needs various work doing. So yeah, there's plenty to be getting on with here. But yeah, that's Giselle the GSA on her new rubber. I do also have some small trim clips. You'll notice I've taken the tripods off. They had to come off so the wheels could be balanced, so the machine would go through the middle. They've taken them off on the front, and I have got some new hubcaps, small caps, just centre caps to go on somewhere. I have a feeling they're in the bedroom, because that's where any car enthusiast keeps their car parts. I should have bought them today, but hopefully that'll neaten up the look. But really, these wheels need stripping and painting, and perhaps that's something I can get on with over winter. But yeah, I could do give them a wash again, because she really is incredibly dirty. But yeah, just lovely to drive now. It's been truly transformative, that tyre change. So yeah, I wonder if I had a slow puncture both sides. That would explain why the steering was rather heavy. Nonetheless, driving much, much better. Hopefully it'll benefit the handling. I haven't had a chance to try her in the wet yet. Nankangs, especially with those stripped edges, we're definitely not feeling all that comfortable. But yeah, hopefully she will be much better, and we can crack on and see how they compare. But that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to head to the Hubnut store, buy all manner of lovely merchandise, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell. Grippy.